Nebuchadnezzar, the mighty king of Babylon, stood before his people. His presence was commanding, and his voice echoed through the vast assembly. The people of Babylon looked up to him with a mix of awe and fear, knowing that his word was law. He had built a giant golden statue, a symbol of his power and glory. This statue was not just any ordinary idol. It was a massive, towering figure made entirely of gold, shining brilliantly under the sun. It gleamed in the sun, casting a golden hue over the land. "Bow down," he commanded. "Worship the golden image." His decree was absolute, and the people knew they had to comply. The music blared, a signal to obey. The sound of ancient instruments filled the air, creating an atmosphere of both celebration and intimidation. It was a call to worship, a call to submission. Everyone in the land had to bow. The crowd, vast and diverse, fell to their knees, their heads bowed low in reverence and fear. The king's command was clear, and disobedience was not an option. Among the crowd were 3 young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They stood out, not just because they were different, but because they refused to bow. They were Jewish captives, forced to serve the king. Despite their captivity, they held on to their faith and their identity, refusing to be swayed by the king's demands. They had always followed God's commands. Their faith was unwavering, and their commitment to their beliefs was unshakable. And God had said, "You shall have no other gods before me." This commandment was etched in their hearts, guiding their actions and decisions, even in the face of great danger. The music swelled. People bowed low, their faces touching the ground in reverence. The air was thick with the sound of devotion, a sea of humanity submitting to the decree. But amidst this vast crowd, 3 young men remained standing. Their eyes were fixed, their hearts resolute. They stood as pillars of defiance, unwavering in their faith. They refused to worship the idol. Word reached Nebuchadnezzar, the mighty king, his face contorted with rage, his fists clenched in fury. He could not comprehend such audacity. "Is it true?" he roared, his voice echoing through the hall. The walls seemed to tremble with his anger. "Do you defy my command?" he demanded, pointing an accusatory finger at the 3 men. His eyes burned with a fierce intensity. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood tall, their faces calm and unyielding. They were not afraid. "O king," they said, "we serve the one true God." Their voices were steady, filled with conviction and courage. "He is able to deliver us from your hand, O king." Their faith was like the rising sun, bringing hope and light. "But even if he doesn't, we will not bow." Their faces were set, their determination unshakable. Their faith burned brighter than the gold of the idol. It was a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of unwavering belief. Nebuchadnezzar's face turned red with rage. "Heat the furnace," he commanded. "Make it 7 times hotter than usual. Throw these rebels into the fire." The furnace raged with unimaginable heat. The king's strongest soldiers dragged the 3 young men towards the inferno. The flames licked at their robes, smoke filled the air. The heat was unbearable. Section 4. The Fourth Man. Suddenly Nebuchadnezzar jumped up from his throne. "Didn't we throw 3 men into the fire?" he exclaimed. His advisors nodded, confused. "Look," the king pointed. "There are 4 men walking in the flames, and the 4th one looks like a son of the gods." Fear gripped the king's heart. Who was this being who could defy the flames? Section 5. A King's Astonishment. The flames died down, leaving behind a scene that would be remembered for generations. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego walked out, unharmed. The crowd gasped in disbelief, their eyes wide with astonishment. Their clothes were not even singed. Not a single thread was burnt, a testament to the miracle that had just occurred. Their hair was not even touched by fire. Nebuchadnezzar was astonished. His eyes widened, and his heart raced as he tried to comprehend the scene before him. He approached them, his voice trembling. How can this be? He wondered aloud, his mind struggling to grasp the divine intervention he had just witnessed. "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego," he declared. His voice echoed through the air, filled with a newfound reverence and awe. "He has sent his angel and rescued his servants." The king's proclamation was met with murmurs of agreement and nods of understanding from the crowd. They trusted in him and he delivered them. Their faith had been their shield, their trust their armor, and now they stood as living proof of divine protection. From that day on, King Nebuchadnezzar decreed that everyone in his kingdom should respect the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. His decree was not just a command, but a testament to the power of faith and the undeniable presence of a higher power. He had witnessed the power of faith and the love of a God who never abandons his own. The king's heart was forever changed and his kingdom would never be the same again.